Hello guys, Prowie here again with a new video. Today I wanted to do something similar to my previous video where I went through the older versions of Simulacrum. Don't worry, this one's not gonna be an hour long, so rest assured. I can't really show much since there are not many Origin versions, but I can at least show like the big difference between how it started and how it goes right now. I've also planned to maybe show some stuff towards the end where I talk about things that are not really public. So maybe like, for example, one scrapped map that I'm not going to work on anymore, and then another one where I'm still deciding whether to continue working on it or not. But that's towards the end. Right now I'm just going to show you guys like the older versions of Origin and anything in between, I guess. So there are not really that big changes, but we'll see. But let's start off with the very first version. Also, I apologize in advance if I sound a bit different than usual. It's because I am sick, so I'm sorry if my voice is kind of annoying. So I'm sure it's not that important. I just wanted to give a little heads up. Everyone gets sick eventually, right? Alright, so right off the bat, you can see a big change in decoration right here in the spawn room. So, well, I don't know, since, you know, not everyone plays Origin, but you will see the difference if we get towards the most recent version. So right off the bat, a bit more bright compared to the newer version. There's no rain, and the textures are pretty like simple with a mix of like the generic textures you get if you start mapping, like the Half-Life textures and stuff like that, like the most like default ones. Yeah. Also, I'm in spectator, so I'm just gonna like go through the walls. So right off the bat, this room, it's pretty empty. I still remember after making Simulation, Origin was my second map, and when I made this, I actually was quite proud of this. I actually do remember like certain things I've said about this. Stuff like, this actually looks really cool. I like this little tower over here with the light entities. Oh my god. This is making me so happy. Like, I was actually proud of it for once. I actually was proud of something for once. And when we go up here, you can also see a huge change, because you still have like these areas where you have like health kits. You don't really have those anymore in Origin. Not really a drastic change here, but still worth noting and mentioning. These laser walls don't really exist anymore in the recent version, so that's good, I guess. I don't know. Things are a bit more bright. Like, there's more light. This room had a huge change in the upcoming versions, or at least in V2. Right now, this is just like a big red clump of just bunch of screens, and that's it. You don't really have decoration here whatsoever. This is still somewhat the same. I just lowered the ceiling a bit and made these fuckers a bit smaller, or like short. But other than that, not much has changed. This is also pretty empty here. Also, no, I did not go like doing like this portal thing where it's blue and orange. I did not do that on purpose. I actually noticed that after making the map, where people were like, yeah, this kind of looks like Portal, as in like the blue color and the orange color of the portals. Yeah, these crit rockets were not really necessary. That's why they were removed in the upcoming versions. And then you just have a teleporter that just teleports you up here to the next room. And you just go through a non-solid wall. You just go down the elevator, you just get the elevator up here, the shaft. And then just as usual, you just do your catapults. And then you get to the end. So, the end was quite different compared to the new version. As you can see, there were skulls for some reason. And when you go through certain triggers here, because there are like 2 triggers, every time you get past the skulls would activate and then just shoot out like a bunch of like Tesla electricity thingamajigs and just make a really loud scream. Brother, I was on that edgy phase back then, I guess. I don't know. I really hate it now. That's why I removed it. I also still hate the new version, where it's the cults are just saying, "Oh no, you don't." I hate that. I really hate it. I wanted to replace it with a model in V2C, but I didn't, because I was like, if I put too much effort into V2C, then it's just gonna be so odd. If a map is already poopy, then you might as well just keep it poopy. Because if you have like a poopy map that is like really bad, and all of a sudden out of nowhere you just add something with a lot of effort put into, it just looks out of place. At least that's my approach. So if I'm like, let's say for example, DR simulation, I decide to update the map, I add a new minigame, I kind of have to keep the minigame with the same quality of the map. Because if I make the minigame way better and with way more quality than the actual map, then it just looks kind of out of place. It doesn't really fit. And so I just keep it poop. I'll put more quality into the actual good maps instead of wasting it on already existing poopy maps or poopy versions. But yeah, you get here, you shoot the button, and you just shoot the crystal. There were no minigames on this version, if I remember correctly. Not even I have played this map in like ages. How big is this room? Where am I? What? Oh. Oh yeah. This room's gigantic. What the fuck? Anyways. You had a humiliation, insta-win, and 50-50. Classic. Good old Deathrun. So this is the first version. A version that probably not many have seen. Since I think... Was this version available on a server? I don't remember if this got added to a server or not. Maybe Black Wonder. But I'm very certain that it didn't get added to Panda yet. So, let's go to a different version then. Actually, let me leave this. Let me leave this session here. All right. So let's go with forgot. Oh my god, forgot. Alright. V1A doesn't add anything, so I don't really need to show that one. I think I can just instantly skip to V2. Actually, here, let's... Oh, wait. I don't even have... What's gonna happen? No! I only have V1A. I don't even have V1. Is it actually gonna try to load me into a map? Wait, I do have V1. Or did it go V1A? Okay, whatever. Probably one of those two. I don't know. As you can see, nothing changes. It still is the same. I don't even remember what the big change was. I don't even think that was a big change. Nah, it doesn't seem like it. Blah, who cares? Forget about it. So let's go to V2, because, like I said, Origin doesn't really have that many old versions. I pretty much kept everything pretty short with this project. So there's not much that has changed. I mean, there's a lot that has changed, but not in like small steps. I pretty much changed things very quickly with Origin. right off the bat, you can instantly see a huge change in decoration with V2 compared to V1. Spawn room looks more decorated. You have more stuff happening here. So let's move on. And then instantly, boom. The first room, way more props, decoration, more detail. And keeping things a bit more dark instead of very bright compared to the previous version. You can also tell by the wall textures because this is even darker than the previous version. Got rid of lava, so it's replaced with purple. So this is still somewhat the same. Pretty much a lot of things have become props, and whilst converting them into props, I also just made sure that I would just over decorate them a bit more. Oh my god, you have the simulacrum spawn room right there. And then you got something. Simulation. Yeah, yes, simulation. I mean, there's some lore to the map, but that has to wait. And then instantly, you see a huge change with this room. Remember V1 or like the fixed version, the very first version I showed? This room was just nothing more but just red and just a bunch of screens. And then instantly, you see a huge change in decoration. Immediately. This is still somewhat the same. Lowered the ceiling like I said and added a couple of vents here, but that's it. And then the portal room, also a bunch of props and brushwork here and there. Way better. Way better. V1A, man, I keep mixing them up. V2, yes, the current version, V2, is the one that also added minigames to the map for the very first time. Since there were no minigames, with V2 I decided to just add minigames because I was like, brother, you don't want to give them humiliation and insta win and that's it. It's kind of boring. Wouldn't really motivate them to get to the end. Also, as you've noticed, there are no health packs anymore, so I learned how to negate fall damage for the most part. And instantly, a huge change with the ending area. Because now you don't have big ass skulls, you only have Sakalzer's office, whom you meet if you press the button. And then you got a small little arrangement of minigames that you can choose. You have escape, which is just simply surviving and dodging. You have spinner and climb. Let's go through the rooms here of the minigames. So we have climb, which I still think is probably the worst minigame I've ever added to this version or like to this map. But I do have to give credits where it's due. I did kind of go crazy with the decoration here, not gonna lie. The decoration wasn't bad on this minigame room, not gonna lie. It was pretty solid. But I just didn't like the minigame. The minigame is just so boring. Now then, moving on to the next one. If I can find it. Ah, there it is. Spinner! Still one of the spinner minigames where I still need to see a stalemate. Because I've only seen 2 or 3 stalemates, and that was on Black Wonder. Thanks to AutoVHop. And then of course you got the escape minigame, where everything you do is just dodge lasers here and there. And that's pretty much it. That's V2. Not much to add, really. With this version, I, as you can see, focused way more on decoration. So I didn't really change anything about the traps, or I didn't really change anything about like the gameplay too much. It was simply just a big like decoration overall. So yeah. Alright, let's move on with the most recent version, because V2A, B don't really add anything. They only add like a couple of small changes, but that's really it. Because V2C is the most recent version, so I might as well show that one. You can also see a big change in Skybox with this version, because this time I've decided to go with a custom 2D Skybox. Instead of going with the one that TF2 gives you, or Wealth, I instead used my own 2D Skybox. Just some gradient and that's it. Not really much. And gave the 3D Skybox a big tower, because you know I love towers. You see a tower on Simulation, you see towers in Simulacrum, you have a tower here on Origin. Yeah. So, moving on. Not much has changed with this version, decoration-wise. There was one big change with V2 C, which is this version. First, obviously you have windows. These were added previously to other versions as well, but I just decided to go with V2C because there's a huge change with V2C at the end. But yeah, you have windows here that showcase the skybox a bit more. You also have the ceiling here, giving you a bit more open area, I guess, making it feel like you are not constantly inside somewhere. If that makes sense. And then this room got a big big decoration change again, where I added a big ass window over here that makes it look like a little train stop where they load, I don't know, crates or stuff on the train and then keep doing that. Yeah. Just small changes here and there. Now, with V2, as I said, I added mini games. So we had climb, escape, and spinner. Here's the thing. On the previous versions, there was a thing called 230. So the concept of that is, if you are blue, there's this little option called activate auto containment. And it already tells you what it is. It's a speedrun mode. So it pretty much forces the players to reach the end within 4 minutes. If you can't beat the map in 4 minutes, everyone dies. And so on the previous versions, when you beat auto containment, nothing will happen. You don't get a reward, you just get to the end and that's it. But eventually I decided to add 230, which is if you beat auto containment under 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you get another button called 230, which forces all the players to not beat the map under 4 minutes. It forces the players to beat the map under 2 minutes and 30 seconds instead. And so if you don't beat the map under that time, everyone dies. It eventually changed to 3 minutes, as in like unlocking it, and then the actual speedrun mode being 230, because on the previous versions you had to do 230 in order to unlock 230 in order to beat 230, which didn't make any sense. So eventually I decided to change the unlock requirement to 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But that was short-lived, because eventually with this version, I decided to remove tier 30 because a lot of people really love spamming it. Also, yeah, here you go. There's a small change in the orange section. No more crit rockets. And you don't get teleported to a random room anymore. Everything is connected pretty much. So you have this room over here. You get catapulted up here. Everything pretty much connects now. There's no random teleport. Only one where you go through the big ass blue gate, but that's it. But yeah, as I was saying, I removed 230 because a lot of people really loved spamming it. And that was like the only reason they even joined the server to begin with, to play 230. So I removed it eventually. And with this version, I also removed a certain minigame. As you can see, you only have two minigames now, spinner and escape. But if you beat 4 minutes, if you beat the speedrun mode, you unlock a different minigame. This minigame is called Dreamful, a boss fight. The very first boss fight for Forgotten Origin. And it turns out to be a real pain in the ass if you do this boss. Now you can easily cheese this boss if you play heavy with a sandwich, or if you play medic obviously, because nothing insta-kills you. But yeah. Those are some changes with V2C. So you don't have 230 anymore and you don't have the climb minigame anymore. But they pretty much got replaced with Dreamful. And 4 new traps, oh my god. But that's pretty much it. There's only a handful of versions for Origin, really. I don't really have that many Origin versions. It's not like Simulation where I had like older versions testing stuff. I didn't really have that. Like I've said, I didn't go with big steps, or like I didn't go with small steps. I went with big steps. So instead of going, instead of like updating the map progressively, like version 1, 2, 3, and then version 1 A, B, C, version 2 A, B, C, version 3 A, B, C, I just instantly went from V1 to V2 and just completely changed the entire map. As for the future of Origin, I can already tell you, Origin will have the same treatment as Simulation and Simulacrum. I've already planned a complete remake of Origin. But I will do the same thing with Simulation. I will not call this map Forgotten Origin anymore with the remake version. I will call it DR Origin Reconstructed. So if people still like Forgotten Origin, they can still play Forgotten Origin and still differentiate it from the new layout, just like Simulacrum and Simulation. And the new idea of the remake version was to have like a little progress system in the map. So the idea was that every time you beat the map, with each round where you actually get to the end, the next round, the gameplay area, the normal area, gets a bit harder and harder and harder, because the whole reason for that is that there's like security measures and stuff like that. Like, you are an intruder in this factory, and eventually, the more you get to the end, the harder the map will get, and then eventually you start a certain act, you start a certain special event if you beat the map enough times. That was the idea. So every time you beat the map gets harder and harder and harder, because there are more security measures that are being deployed on the main map. So that's pretty much like the reason behind it. That's the idea, and I'm still working on it. Or at least I put it on hold, because right now I'm working on different maps. So right now the focus is more on the focus right now is way more on Simulacrum V3 right now, which you probably saw on the Simulation/Simulacrum video towards the end. A small little glimpse to Simulacrum V3, which was the surface section where it's just completely gray and monotone. So that's currently like my main priority, to work on Simulacrum V3. After Simulacrum V3 has been released, I will work on a new map, because I think I need to like expand my catalog a bit more, and I kind of need to add more maps. I can't just sit there and just work on 2 maps all the time. So that's why I decided to release a new map after Simulacrum V3, or at least work on a new map called DR Settings, which is a it's supposed to be a map that that is heavily inspired by Options, a song made by Frooms, because I really love Frooms music, and Options really looked like a song video that I really liked, or like the aesthetics. So I kind of wanted to take some inspiration from that and only fill the map with Frooms music. It's just gonna be a normal Deathrun map. No crazy platforming, no crazy like difficulty whatsoever. It's just a normal Deathrun map. Very short too, not too long, like Simulacrum and Origin. Anyways, going back to this. This is Origin. You've seen. You can pretty much judge now whether you like Origin more or Origin V2. I still think Origin V2 looks better, but hey, maybe there are some people who like things more simple. But in my opinion, this looks way better. I'm still not happy with this. I hate the fuck out of this shit. I fucking hate Origin and Simulacrum. But hey, I will always hate my own things. Which brings me to the next thing. So, as I was talking about my own stuff that I hate, let's come to the next thing. A map that I have trashed a long time ago. A map that I started working on after I was done with Simulacrum. Called Lunar Ruins. This map was supposed to take place on the moon. Because, you know, if you beat Sakaltsir on Simulacrum, you can see the moon in the background and Sakaltsir just disappears into the moon. Or at least it's supposed to illustrate it like that, but I did a terrible job with it. And so, this is Lunar Ruins. Let me just delete a thingy here real quick. There we go. So, Lunar Ruins was supposed to be my next map. Because I worked on Simulation. After Simulation, it was Origin. After Origin, it was Simulacrum. And then after Simulacrum, it was supposed to be this map called Lunar Ruins. But I trashed it. I didn't like the map. So this is like the starting area. You know. This was supposed to be like the name applies. It's supposed to be like ruins inside of the moon. But I just didn't like it. Because you can instantly see, this was still the time with Simulacrum where I really liked these unlit generic textures, these neon textures. I didn't like it, as you can tell. I trashed the map entirely. Let's go to the next room. I mean, looking back to it, it wasn't really that bad, but I can do way better now. I know how to decorate way better. And all of this just looks kind of trash. This looks really bad. I absolutely hate this. Now I gotta enable matte full bright for this next area real quick. Because there are no light entities here yet. So after that room, the previous one, you get to this room. But the idea of this room was made by a good friend of mine, the decoration. And the idea of this room was that you go from up to down. So you go from the top to the bottom, and not bottom to the top. And then eventually you get to the final room, which was supposed to be this gigantic room over here. This gigantic thing of a mess. And then eventually you get to the end, and then there was supposed to be a small little mini boss, but as you know, I trashed. As I've said, the map got trashed. I never made it. I mean, I did make the mini boss, but I didn't like this map, and so I never added it to the map and just trashed the map entirely. I still have the VMF, but I don't want to work on this anymore. It's a bad idea. The map is just such a mess. But yeah, this was supposed to be the next map that I would have released. But I came to my senses and I didn't, luckily. Now, let's fast forward a bit to the present. After crashing Lunar Ruins and working on Simulacrum more, I've decided to make a different map. That map's name is DR Sanctuary. Now this map actually has a good future because I think I might actually do finish this map. But here's the thing. I still can't decide if I want to finish this map or not. Because this map can look way better. Oh goddammit, I joined with Matt Fulbright. Hold on. All the prompts are going to be completely fucked up. Let's disable that real quick. Let's load back in. So, oh my god. Ignore the cube maps, I still have to work on it. I will fix that probably eventually, I don't know. Because here's the thing. I am not happy with this map. I'm not. This map can be better. And I've decided to probably... I will keep it in my files and maybe release it as like... Not really Deathrun, but just like a, I don't know, like a random exploration map or some shit. Because that was the initial idea. I wanted this map to be a exploration map. So this map is called DR Sanctuary, and I wanted this map to be an exploration map. You can already see that it takes some inspiration from well, not really inspiration, but it's connected and tied to Simulacrum, simply because you see this guy everywhere. This guy's name is Sakaltsir, just a little like heads up if anyone doesn't know yet. This guy's Sakaltsir. He used to be my OC. Still is my OC. This is my original character, but I later on decided to just have him as an actual like lore character, and now he's like the main antagonist in the story. I still have to add the lore to the maps. Yes, I know, but just remember, this guy is bad. He's the antagonist. He a bad guy. Don't trust this guy. But if you watch Simulacrum or like the Simulacrum video, you probably saw this statue without his head and his wings. So both the maps, Simulacrum and Sanctuary, were supposed to be connected. You can especially see that if I go here and you look a bit further. There's something like a gate. This gate right here is also on Simulacrum v3. That one right there. You probably saw it on the surface section. Because, like I said, Simulacrum and Sanctuary are supposed to be connected in the story. That's why in Simulacrum v3, if you go to the second section, you might see some resemblance with the second section and Sanctuary. But I'm not gonna show that. You'll see that in the released version of Simulacrum v3. But yeah, this was supposed to be the next map. My next map, like my third map. That was supposed to be released. Because as you can see, all the decoration and all the gameplay is pretty much almost done. Like there's not much to change about it. You probably already saw this map in my very first TF2 video, where I was playing the April Fool's maps, and I was going through the April Fool's maps. And I was like talking about the state of Deathrun towards the end of the video. That's the map. This is my map. This is DR Sanctuary. This was supposed to be the next map. But like I said, I might just, well, not trash it, but just keep it and not release this. And maybe release it under like a different game mode. Because it was supposed to be an exploration map, but eventually I saw the state of Deathrun and I was like, brother, I think I should really just release this map, because yeah, sure, I don't like it, but I feel like other people might like this more than me, so maybe I should just work on this and release this. But then eventually I was just like, you know what, fuck that. I might just release this as a non-Deathrun map and just some kind of other game mode. I don't know, you guys can let me know if you guys want to see this in Deathrun or not. If you guys do, then tell me, I guess, because I'm still not sure. Like, I keep saying that I don't want this, but I'm still not sure. I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure yet. I still haven't decided yet. But yeah, this is Simulacrum. Whoa, no, not Simulacrum. Oh my god, what is wrong with me today? I'm so hung up on Simulacrum, Jesus Christ. This is Sanctuary. Map's still not completely finished. They're still missing gameplay and like missing decoration here and there and particles that were planned. But this is pretty much the whole thing. Most of the decoration and the textures are already done. So this is what it was supposed to be like. I'm still not sure with the props. I might change them a bit. I don't know. But yeah. This is Sanctuary. This was supposed to be the next Prowie map that I was working on in secret. With that being said, I don't really have anything to add anymore. The only thing I could have, the only thing I can add is thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I don't really have much for Origin, but at least I had these two maps that I was able to show towards the end. So, woohoo, I guess. I don't know if that made you a bit happy. Yeah. Hopefully Deathrun is steering towards a better direction. I still have my doubts, but hey. As long as we have people who actually care about Deathrun and actually release quality, like high quality maps, then I'm happy. I'm trying my best to just, well, trying my best is a hard promise, but I'm trying to just release maps. There you go. With that being said, yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. I really need to take a break with my voice because I'm sick as fuck. Then I'll see you guys in the next video. And yeah, that's about it. See ya. Woo!